Good morning, and welcome. I think it's a welcome to our preview of the 246th Merseyside Derby between Liverpool and Everton. They traveled to Anfield all the way across town. They had to take the extra bus if they went to the Hill Dickinson earlier this morning. I'm sure they're irritated that this isn't on their home turf to start the year, but expecting a feisty one, expecting a bit of a battle. Hell, American Scousers already at it in the Discord channel this morning, arguing about the lineups, the fraud of a manager. I'm sure we'll get to it before the match starts. But before we do that, I am joined by Maka. I am joined by Sir Z. It is much earlier on the West Coast, Sir Z. How are we faring at 3:50 in the morning?
It better be worth it. Hopefully, it's my last one, but it better be worth it.
Yes. Congratulations.
It's gonna ruin my whole weekend.
Congratulations to you and the family on your impending move. Best of luck.
And have a here we go soon. I'll put a here we go announcement soon.
Beautiful. I am excited for that. Here we go, hitting the Discord channel about the most anticipated transfer in Texas state history. Speaking of large transfers, but on the Connecticut side of things, probably transferring himself to film a religious activity or two this afternoon at work. Maka is here this morning before he has to go to work. How are you, my friend?
I'm not doing too bad at all. This is usually when I would be just getting into work, so it's an okay time for me.
So you pick up a little extra time with us this morning to get on in there and preview Liverpool versus Everton. 246 times. Sir Z, I know you love a quiz. How many wins does Liverpool have in those 246 Merseyside derbies?
Oh, God.
This is how you know Sir Z's in trouble. He can't use the Google machine if you have him on the screen.
What was it, 100? What was it, 112?
Maka, you got a guess?
I go 152 and a half.
It's actually exactly 100. 100 wins, 68 losses, 78 draws. 100 wins, 68 losses, 78 draws. Remember, the thing did start back in the 1800s, and Everton was a good side at one point, long before any of us were alive. Let's get at it. Let's get into the lineup. Obviously, that's what we're here to do, to preview the match. I am not shocked by much of this lineup, to be honest, boys. I think I wasn't on the Monday Night Podcast this week, but I did kind of say I thought we would see that back four. I thought that the introduction of Bradley probably meant he would start this match, and it was sensible to start him, a true defensive right back against, a very well-informed Jack Grealish so far this season. That a lot is going through that left-hand side for Everton. The big news is Verts being on the bench. So, Maka, I'll start with you. Just rotation, something more. I know we had talks on the Discord that it was his best match against Atletico Madrid, and you should build on that. But he has played from the start in every single competitive match we've had, going back all the way, including the Community Shield. Do you think this is just rotation for rest, or do you think this has something to do with maybe the tactics, or just wanting that bullet to fire from the gun should this thing look like the Burnley match and be 0-0 late?
Yeah, no, I think it's probably that, and probably give him a chance to sample the intensity of Derby before being in it. Seeing the atmosphere instead of being overwhelmed by it. I don't know too much about it being rotation at this point of the season. Maybe after the next international break you start to think about that, both in terms of matches played and in looking ahead to the rest of the season to make sure you don't burn players out. But I think it's the intensity of a Merseyside derby is probably, I want to say, unlike anything else. I can't think of many German Bundesliga derbies that are these same intensity as Liverpool, Everton. So that would that might be just here's what it looks like. Have a listen to that. Now, go Sabres by getting us 2 goals in the 75th minute.
Z, let's stick on Verts here. I personally thought we'd see him on the left. I thought he was very bright, and I thought he looked good when they moved him out to the left. And I thought part of moving him out to the left for that short period before Rio came on against Atletico was to kind of see what it would look like. Because I figured we'd probably see him here in this match because I knew Sobo was not going to get dropped. I never expected Mac not to start 2 matches in a row. So I thought we'd go back to the tried and true midfield and maybe play Verts out on the left with Ekitike through the middle. What are your thoughts? And are you a bit surprised that, Gakpo, who has looked off it the last 2-3 matches, gets another start here? Or is it just he knows the event, he knows the magnitude of the Merseyside Derby, he's played in them before? What do you think comes down to Verts over Gakpo in the starting 11?
I think it's all of the above, to be honest with you. I'm not that surprised with Verts, only because I think we've conditioned ourselves into thinking the first 11 that doesn't mean anything now. The first 11 is just the players that you've got to try and control the game with them. It's who you finish off with, and as we were saying before we came on. You look at the first 5 games that we've played, we've won these games at the end. And to your point, bringing Verts and Isak on at the same time, say 60, 75th minute or whatever it is, it's, you being an Everton player or Everton fan or whatever, and you see Verts and Isak coming off the bench, it's like, what the heck? Knowing that Liverpool win games late in the game. It's just a mental head fuck for him. Given the team, and you look at the team, a lot of it, apart from Kirkers and Ekitike, they've all got experience in the Merseyside Derby. It's a huge one, being at Anfield, obviously, early game, and I think it's about controlling the game first. And rather than putting our new players in there and experiencing something that unless you've been to a Merseyside Derby, it's you won't experience anything like that. I guess closest to that will be your Turkish Derby or the Rangers Celtic Derby, but it's a huge derby which can swallow you up as a player. So. I'm okay with the team, and like I said, I'm surprised with Gakpo. It's not been in the best form, but has experienced. And I don't remember too many times Gakpo coming off the bench and making a big difference. Whereas I think having Verts or Isak coming off, it's going to be a lot more telling.
Yeah, I made the comment before you joined in, Maka. Me and Sir Z were chatting before we went on air. I kind of mentioned too. I wonder if part of the manager's thinking here is Isak and Verts had a really nice, first 15, 20 minutes of that match. They grew into the match. There was some really good link-up play happening. And in some ways, I wonder if the manager says to himself, it's taken late winners to win these matches. Everton might show up with a bit of a low block like Burnley, not to that extent. I don't think they'll literally be in the stands where Burnley was defending with all 11. But I was saying maybe it's more about planned substitutions, getting Verts and Isak in to kind of close out the game together. And then you can, take off a Maka for his legs, take off a Gakpo, almost bring on Verts for Gakpo, put him out on the left. Then you maybe bring in Isak for Ekitike and Rio, like he did in the last match, drop Soboslai deeper in the midfield. Like, do you think the manager now feels like I have those extra pieces? You're going to have to get used to a little bit of, I hate to say it, playing a little bit like a Pep Roulette where you don't know which of the key components of that front 5, other than Mo Salah, is going to be starting match in, match out.
I mean, there's also the possibility of him putting Isak on with Ekitike staying on the field, and if you're David Moyes and you're looking at your own bench, you go, oh, if we need to change the game, I can put Seamus Coleman, Dwight McNeil, and what's his name, Tierno Barry. Oh, look, he's just put Isak, Frimpong, Robertson, and the hottest soccer property in academy football right now. Crap. There's a psychological aspect to it, if it's a tight game and you're bringing on Isak and you're leaving Ekitike on, maybe he's having a good game. He just hasn't put the ball in the net. I think I've talked about this maybe Thursday or the Tuesday EPL panel show. There was a time when Ireland was actually a good world soccer team, where if you were playing against Ireland and you were up against John Aldridge and Niall Quinn, and then you saw him taking off John Aldridge and putting Tony Cascarino up, and, you're the opposition coach, you go, oh Christ, we've got 2 7-foot tall number 9s, and they're just going to launch crosses into the box. What are we going to? And Liverpool Ireland scored so many late goals because of that kind of psychological damage of they can switch it up. We're in trouble now. And David Moyes is a manager. I think he's flappable. He's a good coach, but he's also very flappable. So I think there is a part of that there. Slot has pieces to play. He can play chess now. He's not playing modified checkers. He's able to play chess now. Here's my move. What are you going to do? Here's my next move. What are you going to do? So I think there's an element to that as well.
You brought up the bench. Let's take a quick look at the Everton side that we will face today. It's Pickford in goal, back four of O'Brien, Keane, Tarkowski, and Mikolenko, Ghana, Garner, and Ndai, Dewsbury Hall, and then, of course, Grealish, we talked about earlier on the left, and the big oaf Beto in the center. And, it's funny. We can laugh at Beto, make fun of Beto, but he absolutely gives us fits when we play them. He stands on Konate. He actually leans on Virgil and makes him work. I'm not shocked at all that they went with, the big guy. I don't fear him, but it feels to me like he always gets 2 or 3 gilt edge chances. And in the past, he's taken them at times. Where do you think they get at us if they do, Cersei? What is it, that Grealish, Dewsbury Hall triangle, in that left-hand side? They've had a very good partnership so far. Is it Ndai, who's probably their most gifted all-around player at this point? And, in my opinion, the guy they try to make everything run through. If Everton gets joy today, where does it come from?
I think that Ndai is a good shout. I think we saw in the first derby last season, up until when he got injured, he's pretty much all over our midfield, and making things happen. Whether it's getting the cheap fouls or whatever, and we played into Everton's hands last season because of that. But obviously that was at Goodison Park. So we were literally playing against 13 men if you include a referee and their supporters. I think this time around, and against Kirkers, that's a worry for me. I think Grealish, we've played him enough to know what he's capable of doing, and it's not to say that he's a bad player. And I think being at Everton suits him more than being at Man City. I think he's a big fish in a small pond playing for Everton, rather than a small fish in a big pond at City. And I think it's a game for him to shine in. But I think on the right hand side, I don't think we have too much to worry about. But yeah, it's the left that worries me with Kirkers playing there, just given how Kirkers has started off this season. But I look at our bench, and I remember being on a Thursday show with Macca, and our bench was pretty pitiful compared to Arsenal's. But this bench is just like, wow, anyone playing against this bench is just like, how do you control that? Frimpong and Verts and Ekitike and Rio, those are game winners, match winners, and then you've got Endo who can just stop the game. He'll get you a tactical foul and just stop whoever he wants. It's definitely a nice problem to have. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the bench, Macca. It's a stark change from trotting out the kids and wondering, who some of these names are when you see him go that deep. Obviously, Chiesa doesn't make the bench. Leone still hasn't made the bench in a Premier League match here. You're really seeing the depth of this squad overall when the guys come back to fitness. And, Z didn't even mention you get Curtis Jones back on the bench, which means you have another legitimate sub for the midfield if you needed to give Gravenberch or Szoboszlai some, a blow or some minutes. I really, the more and more that Gravenberch becomes almost undroppable, the more I think like they almost need to consider him right along Virgil and Mo and just tell him, just so you know, Ryan, you're not even getting a shirt on Wednesday or Tuesday because I'm protecting myself. You're not playing in the Moose Cup against Southampton. If we can't win that match without you three, like I tell Virgil not even to show up. Like you're not even, if we go on the road, you're not even coming with us, big guy. Like just stay home, chill out. You're not playing in this competition. But it is amazing when you see the likes of, Jones, Wirtz, Frimpong, Robertson, Endo, Gomez, Mamadashvili. I mean, that is genuinely an entire bench that every one of them could make an argument. They would be Everton's best player today.
I think it's the first. It sounds dramatic to say, so obviously my old memory is not working properly, but probably one of the first times in a long time where I'm not worried about anybody coming off the bench at all. Maybe the goalkeeper, but that's just because I don't know enough about him. And I hope we don't have to lose.
Well, and I think you feel for, and I think if you have the best backup goalkeeper in the world, you don't like a goalie having to come in when they didn't do all the prep that morning thinking they were starting. It's a cerebral position where I feel like you start thinking about not making mistakes in goal before you go to bed the night before if you're good at it. Unless you're Jordan Pickford, and then you just, wave little arms at people. But I wanted to make Sir Z feel better this morning, not only because it's now after at least 4 a.m. on the West Coast, but it is Darren England refereeing the game today, so don't you worry. It will still be 12v11 when the match kicks off. So we'll do our predictions in a couple minutes, but before I get there, I did want to touch on the big matches tomorrow. Obviously, here's the full slate of Premier League matches this weekend. Obviously, we kick it off with the lunchtime match over in England. There's a slew of matches today. Nothing too great at 10 a.m. in my opinion. Man United Chelsea should be fun this afternoon because, well, it's always fun to laugh at Man United, but Chelsea looks just as inept at times, so that'll be an interesting one. Didn't realize Chelsea haven't won a match at Man United in like 17 years or 13 years or something ridiculous, so be interesting to see if that holds true. But the big one tomorrow, 11:30 a.m., Arsenal hosting Man City. Looks like there's some leaks out there that Arteta being Arteta is trying to make everybody think everybody's out, and then the lineup will drop, and Saka and Odegaard and then Saliba and everyone will all be starting in it probably. How do you watch that match, Sir Z? Are you rooting for the draw? Both sides dropping points? Is this a situation where you could actually find yourself genuinely rooting for City to win, and you have at least a 6-point gap on both of your kind of quote-unquote rivals, or are you not worried about them? You don't care about the result, and at this point, if you're worried about one, maybe it's City, so you want an Arsenal win, and that puts City 9 points back, and you drop them out of – like, where are you at with this match? Win, lose, or draw?
No, draw for sure. I think draw is a perfect result, but if I have to come off the fence, then City all day long, and I just want Arsenal to lose in so many ways. Like I want them to get battered, like 4-5-0. And Haaland gets a hat trick. I just want Arteta to lose his head. I want all them Arsenal fans to lose their heads. I mean, if you watch the Thursday shows, you know how much I hate Arsenal. So anything that robs them of points. Ideally, yes, a draw, but if not, I just want them to get battered. They're just the most cringiest team ever. Arsenal just drop points. I don't care how many points, just drop points.
For a club that makes up awards and ways to give themselves plaudits, I think we should absolutely send them an American Scouser plaque that says the cringiest team ever. Macca, how about you? Where is it too early to chase points, look at gaps, or is it, if we win today, we can put a real marker down regardless of what the result is, because one of those teams is in real trouble tomorrow?
No, I don't think it's too early. I think we can always fear Manchester City clicking or buying 10 players under some shady loan deal type arrangement in January to boost their title chances. So any gap against them is great. Any psychological gap on Arsenal is great because, I think we're only a few weeks away or a few months away from Arteta trying to convince everybody his entire team is in hospital following a bus crash. And then, miraculously, they're cured 5 hours later to play the game. So any psychological blow on them is a good thing as well. But we need to change the rules of soccer so that they can both lose at the same time.
It would be amazing somehow for that to happen. I will say a Liverpool win today, like a flat out convincing victory today, that makes tomorrow's match so much better, because that there is like both sides are going into that with like angst and a little bit of jeopardy, knowing that a bad result for either of them. Like Arsenal drops 3 points at home against a rival after losing at Anfield. If they drop 3 points there and know they go 6 points back of the champions, already having played them, that's a big one. If City drop their third match of the year and don't look good, and there's just so much on the line. That's why I love sports. Like I always say, I love when a sporting event has as much mental angst as it does like physical angst in it when it's not my team, right? Like when it's not my team, I want there to be so much on the line for everyone. I can't even imagine what like the fools at Arsenal TV and DR Sports and all them will be like if they're losing tomorrow at halftime, like just sitting in their seats and stewing, and the supporters outside the ground screaming and hollering. It would bring me so much joy. But I think I'm with Z. I think a draw is the best result. I think the idea of maybe like Arsenal leading all match and then City getting like a last minute equalizer to just steal it from them might be the gut punch we need to just see Arteta's head explode. He spent the whole press conference talking about how they're the best club in Europe statistically, and everyone can see it when you watch their performance, in the Champions League. And you're like, but this is in the Champions League, and that's 2 losses on the bounce. BJ says, good freaking early morning, gentlemen, up the Reds. Thank you for that, BJ. So let's get in with our predictions for this one before we let everybody refresh their coffees, get the sleep out of their eyes, and prepare for this match. So, Mako, we'll start with you. Score line, what to watch for, maybe a player or two that could surprise?
I'm hoping for like a 3-0 win. I'm not. I meant to. I didn't give my prediction on Thursday because I completely forgot to say it after saying I would give my prediction. But I wouldn't be shocked if we lost. I wouldn't be shocked if their luck ran out at this point against Everton. But I want to be positive, obviously. So I'm going to say like a 3-0 win. But my impact is going to be Wirtz and Isak together coming on, and Isak getting his debut goal against Everton at Anfield. Maybe hopefully in front of the Kop. It only goes well from there, really, doesn't it?
It is basically like writing it in the stars. If you ask a player, how would you like to be introduced? I would like to score my first goal for the club in front of the Kop in a Merseyside Derby to win it late. Hopefully it's not too late, because I don't know that I can handle another 80-plus minute winner. Z will go to you. What do you got for prediction? What to watch for? Key players?
It's going to be the biggest hate watch of the weekend, I think. I think key player is a referee, because if he doesn't have a good game, this game is going to go completely out of control. I'm going to go for a Timothy special, a 3-1. I think almost 99% sure Isak will score. Every one of our strikers has scored on a debut since, I think, probably Morientes. I mean, even Darwin scored in his debut. So, it'd be great for Isak to get a winning goal. And even though my heart can't take it, I'm up for a 91st Isak winner, just to piss Arsenal fans off. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool win.
I like the 3-1 shout. That's what I was going to do too. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet because I think we'll go at them. I think the emotions will get them revved up. I still think that we're weak on set pieces and they're very strong. BJ says 2-0 to the good guys. That would be amazing. I think it's going to be 3-1, but I don't think it's going to feel like a 3-1 win. I could literally see it being, a late goal to make it 3-1 after it being cagey down, down the last furlong of the track, so to say. I think the biggest piece for me is going to be how the subs come in, and I think that's where the match will be won. I think our bench will win the match. Our subs will be fresher. The players we bring on will be match winners. Theirs will be guys trying to hang on. And I think you'll see Rio. I definitely think we see Isak converts. And then probably, hopefully, you get the magical samurai of a yellow card for just chopping one of those midfielders down when Endo comes on for his victory lap. Because I feel like Endo basically comes on to get clapped on and get clapped off by the referee when they pull the yellow out. So I do think it's a good shout, though, on your part about the referee. He plays a big role in this match. We've seen these be cagey. We've also seen these have a fair bit of fire. And, I know they call it the nice derby, but then it has, I think, the most red cards of any derby. That could be because there's 246 of them that have happened in the history of time. And we are about to watch the 246. So we'll let everyone get out of here on this. Thank you for viewing. If you haven't already, please get in and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way, helps us out. Hit the little bell notification so you get all the updates. For myself, Macca, and Sir Z, have a wonderful weekend. Up the Reds, and keep watching American Scouser TV for more action.